to the Layman podcast. Over here, we are jacks of all trades, masters of none, but we're definitely better than masters of one. As always, my name is Evans, and I'm here with Great. So yeah, you know what we do. We talk about things from layman perspectives, and today we are going to be talking about TinderSwindler, the new docu film on Netflix. We're going to react to it because there's some pretty interesting stuff that we have to talk about in there. But just for the benefit of those who haven't seen it, TinderSwindler is a docu-series that follows three women who were swindled by a man they met on... Allegedly swindled by a man they met on Tinder. So we have to look into some of the themes that were in there because it's going to be interesting. Let's see. All right. So there's this guy in there who is the person of interest in this docu-series, and his name is Simon Levi, if I'm getting it right. Because yeah, and he said he was an heir to a diamond company. He called himself the Prince of Diamonds. Later, he was like, "My enemies are after me." So because of he has this affluent lifestyle, he was taking pictures in yachts, flying on private jets, dining in expensive restaurant, wearing only designer clothes, and also like sleeping in only the most luxurious hotels and all of that. He had a bodyguard and everything. But ultimately, his life was just about taking, let's say, like robbing Peter to pay Paul, taking money from one person and spending it on another person and funding his affluent lifestyle. So, what do you make of the movie?
Honestly, going through I saw it. I've seen the movie once, and going through it, I wasn't that much surprised because, for like you said, he had a representation, or he represented himself in a certain manner on the internet.
Yeah.
And for me, that I think the day and age that we live in is quite normal, where people are like, they literally have a different personality on the internet as compared to what they really are. So for me, I think what really stood out to me was not necessarily the fact that he took money from women under false pretense, but then it was more of the reality of the times that we live in, where people kind of literally live a lie on the internet, and in actuality who they are is quite different, or is quite the opposite to what they present on the internet. So that is what actually stood out to me for the most part.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. It makes me think how easy it is for us to buy into the lifestyle that people project on the internet, because we see these things and sometimes don't even know the person, and automatically we believe that this is what has happened. Do you think that was the reason why, or one of the reasons why, these ladies that fell prey or victim to his antiques became the victims?
Yeah, definitely. Because if my memory would serve me right, I think one of the women, I believe it was the first one.
Yeah, Cecilia or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So she was talking about when she got on Tinder, like she had a list, like the type of guy that she was looking for.
Yeah.
And I believe it wasn't even her. It wasn't just only her, but then another woman also made a comment like she needed a man who like literally
matches her lifestyle.
Exactly, matches her lifestyle. That is like fast cars, living more or less like a luxurious life, traveling and stuff like that. So it was easy for them to kind of fall prey to this. But honestly, when I was watching it, I kept asking myself, like, okay, so somebody who's on Tinder, right?
Yeah.
And that person claims to be an heir to a diamond empire. that person is a billionaire. And I'm guessing like what type of billionaire has time
to be on Tinder?
Because I don't know if the ladies thought about it for a minute. Like, what type of billionaire has time to be on Tinder?
Yeah. The gullibility of this woman, just from a short period of conversation with this person, is quite outstanding. Because, like, the first lady, Cecilia, said that she's kind of an expert on Tinder.
Okay, yeah.
A Tinder expert. She said that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, she knows how to pick them. In a sense, and pick the right people for the kind of person she wants to be with. And one interesting phrase she uses, the full package. So it leads into the conversation that makes you want to think you were just in for the money because this person was wealthy or impersonated a wealthy person.
Yep.
You were more attracted to this person because of their wealth. But eventually, they were trying to say that wasn't the case. And I don't know how we would want to juxtapose that. How do you say to me that, I mean, I didn't like them for their money. I like you for the personality because
no, I think that is cap. But personally, I would say like people go into relationships for different reasons.
Yeah,
right?
Obviously.
Yeah, for some people it's money. Which I don't think I'm in a position to judge because I'm one person who claims that I don't even believe in love as we've defined it.
Yeah.
But then generally the expectation is that you are in a relationship with somebody because you love the person. And I think that it is, and it's not necessarily only on the ladies' side, but also on the guy's side as well, because men tend to be more physical. So there are certain people who you meet in certain circles, and you already pre-assume that okay, maybe like let's say if I meet a lady at, let's say, a business event as compared to a lady that I meet at a club, right? Like at first glance, right? It's like I have a different perspective on them, like in terms of expectation or in terms of assumption based on who I think they are. So I think it's quite normal to enter relationships with personal reasons or with personal objectives, but as to admitting if like this actually forms part of the reason why.
Because I feel like it's because we have a lot of superficial reasons at first glance.
Yep.
But I think eventually we are supposed to see beyond the superficiality of what is being presented to us, and I think that was pretty lacking in the experiences with these three ladies in the TinderSwindler.
But I think he was quite a smart guy, because it wasn't like right up front. He asked them for the money right up front, but then he presented some. He created some type of credibility around him, because wait, he's taking you on private jets.
Yeah.
He's taking you places that you've never been before. You because I remember like with the first lady, they were trying to get an apartment together.
Yeah.
And he said like the budget is $15,000 a month.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That is like somebody's whole year's revenue or income or salary. Right? And somebody's annual salary.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that is like a month's rent. So like, trust me, anybody who kind of gets you to the point where you believe that money is not a problem, if they present an emergency to you and it's like, you know what, front me up and I'm going to pay you. I'm going to double, because you remember that I believe it was the second lady. I think she gave him like 30,000, and he presented him like a fake
a dot check.
Yeah, exactly, of 100,000.
Yeah,
but you give somebody 30,000 and they give you 100,000. So
at the point, I think it also becomes greed.
Yep.
Where you want more for the little that you have done. So at a certain point with these ladies, they may have started out of, the genuineness of their heart to help this person out. And I think after a point, it became greed. They might not admit it, because like you're saying, if I give you 30,000 and you write me a check of 100,000, I'm so happy. I trust you because I know I can get more.
Yep.
You know, if I can get more from the little you've given me, why wouldn't I giving you even more? Because I'll get much more.
Well, the reason why I'm a little bit conflicted is because when you look at it from the lady's perspective, so for example, the first lady, it was like, okay, we're dating. You're my boyfriend, right? So it wasn't necessarily because, okay, I give you this and I expect this exactly, but it's more like, I know that you're in a position to provide me the lifestyle that I wanted. So for me, there's a difference between what I would say a short-term kind of expectation, which literally centered around greed, like what can I get from you now, than a long-term perspective. But then for the second lady who just gave out like 30,000, I think maybe with her it was more greed than anything, because I remember she said, when they first met, the guy wasn't her type because he was too short, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the sparks didn't fly for
exactly. But then eventually it's like, okay, let's be friends. And whilst we're friends, you're still providing me with this crazy lifestyle where I don't have to spend a penny. Maybe we're also talking from a point of... we're talking with a very skewed mentality, because then depending on the amount of money that you have, the way that you relate to people is also quite different.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So maybe that is normal amongst like within the circles of the super rich, where there's just one bankroller or huge bankroller who literally puts everything in
the bomber.
Exactly. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
As I was looking at it, I felt the love between the first lady, Cecilia, felt towards the guy. You could feel like she was worried for the person who she thought was going to be her husband or her life partner or whatever, right? But the second lady, she was like, okay, I'm not really into you, like you were saying. And, you know, the first and the third lady, they had a lot in common because they both were actually in relationships with this lady. And actually, the second lady had been with the guy for almost 2 years or so and had even endured some abuse from the guy. So she was really into the guy. But then the second lady, like you're saying, she enjoyed the company of the guy because he was spending and splurging all the time and everything. So especially for her, when the check came in for 100,000, she was so excited.
Yeah, 30,000 for 100,000.
That was crazy out of her mind. Before she cashed the check, she was calling this person to thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
So much appreciation for it. And when it didn't work, she was still so convinced that let me go and get the watch. And come and pawn it for my money back, you know. But I read some articles from two different perspectives. Let's go into the first perspective. From the Washington Post, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's the Washington Post. And a lady wrote about it and says that this whole thing, it's not about ladies being naive or anything. It's about men. Men preying on women who are vulnerable.
Okay. Is it even gender specific? I don't
from a post or from an article saying that Tinder is not a place where you scrutinize who is coming on. Everybody can sign up for Tinder. And so there's so many characters on there. But these women, because they are at a certain age, they're vulnerable and all of that. And also because of, you know, the first girl like this, she was looking for love and all of that. And she thought she would find it on Tinder. So this guy, being wealthy, nobody asked any questions. And so that he was able to come on Tinder and swindle these ladies because they were vulnerable.
Okay,
So my thought about it is, was it really about vulnerability? Was it really about just something that men do? Like, she had a place in the whole article says, have you met them? Like, the problem is men. Have you met them?
No, I think whoever wrote the post is just being diabolical because in relationship or in a relationship setting, the traditional expectation from every man is to be the provider.
Yeah.
And by providing, regardless of what, because then if I'm providing, right, because the rate at which people talk about men being providers, we should also use that same level or that same energy to talk about if I provide, what do I get back?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Right?
agree. I agree
So
totally.
so if we are not having these conversations about, okay, a man provide and a woman gives this back, like being very specific, because when they talk about men being providers, there are very specific criteria, or there are very specific things that a man needs to do
Provide, yeah.
in order to assume the position as a provider. But then if for women it's quite vague in that sense, as in, if I provide, what do I get back? Then I don't think this has nothing to do with men preying on women, because it is just the rules of the game, I would say, right? Because then, as a woman, you have an expectation from a man. So if I'm a man, because, oh, yeah. So I've heard this a couple of times from women where they say, if you are a man and you don't have money, there's no reason for you to date.
Yeah.
And I think, personally, I think that is absurd. Like, a man, and I actually heard a man make this comment. You were saying that, so you guys are trying to say that a man only deserves love if he has money, which is literally the implication of what some of these women say. So if, okay, now these are the rules, without money, I don't have access to a woman. Right?
It looks like that's what happened in the TinderSwindler.
Exactly. So if I cannot find the money, I need to pretend that I have money, because then having a woman or dating a woman is part of like the normal life processes. So if you guys want to put limits and boundaries on it, and kind of create some type of hierarchy where you say, okay, if you have this, then you're qualified for this. If you don't have that, then you're disqualified. Then that means at some point you're going to get people trying to act that part in order to get that qualification. And so I don't think it has anything to do with gender, but it's just the current system that we live in.
Yeah, because on that last point, that if you don't have the money, you have no business falling in love or dating. And I think that's really what happened to the people in the TinderSwindler, because they easily gravitated to this person because of the kind of lifestyle he portrayed. And the lifestyle he portrayed was affluence. And the first lady said he was the full package, right, for them. I've actually spoken to certain ladies or some of my lady friends, and they were still like, they don't believe the lady saying that it wasn't about money. It definitely was about money, because even them would be attracted to such a person.
Yep.
And I find it very hypocritical when I was watching, when they said it really wasn't about the money, because in the beginning, the very first thing that drew you to the person was his appearance, the affluence he portrayed. So why are you saying it really wasn't about the money? So when I read that thing, when I read the article, I was like you said, this is being diabolical. You want to twist it and blame men for not doing proper, not finding things out, not talking as much. Because the moment she was swindled and she decided that she was going to make sure that this person was caught, she started putting together all the pieces that didn't sound right or that didn't look right when the relationship was developing, in order that she could find the roles. So usually what they do is do a Google search, and it's like you Google search everybody, Google search the person, and they're like, oh, this is the first page. I see, oh, okay. Then when this TinderSwindler docu-movie came about, a lot of reactions to it was that this can never happen to an African woman.
I doubt it. No, not that I doubt. I mean, I doubt that it would never happen to an African woman.
Like they were saying, they don't know what would make them want to go and take out a loan for a man. And I really think that some of them, or even a majority of them can still fall prey to this con, because the way the con is set up, it is set up in a way that you know this person is good for it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they've shown you everything to let you believe that they're good for it. This person is spending crazy money.
Yep.
So if he asks you for a loan, why wouldn't you give it? But my sentiment on the fact that they definitely would fall prey to it, or like a majority of them, because not all ladies, even if they are not African, would also fall prey to this.
I actually think that even African women will be more likely to fall prey, because generally African women don't ask direct questions per se. Yeah, so all other things being equal, I think that African women are most likely to fall prey because they are not inquisitive enough.
Okay, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you get notified when we post new videos. Kindly share the video and also comment and follow us on our socials in the description below. Okay, so going on to that same topic about it not happening to African women, do you think that they have that sentiment because African women are more seeped into the idea of the man being the provider, that they really don't see themselves in the role where they give their monies to men to be like, sort of like assuming that position of the provider?
Actually, yeah, I think I've heard way too many stories of African women falling prey to most of the time their husbands, whereby they literally everything that they make they give to their husbands, and sometimes their husbands either run away.
I forgot about that. That's so
exactly.
true.
There's like way too many stories like that. But then the thing is that culturally we like passing down stories.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it depends on the generation.
Yeah.
Because like I'll say maybe with a younger generation, they've, just like I'm saying, I know way too many stories. Some I heard on TV or on radio, and some has been passed down to me through my parents by way of storytelling. So for most girls around our age, most of them already know way too many of these stories. So maybe they'll be more inclined to be a little bit more apprehensive when a man keeps asking them for money over and over again. And the other side is that some of these modern African girls or African women, or if I could also say Ghanaian women, because that is where I have the experience with, or those are the people I have experience with. They most of them hold this very strong modern mentality where it's like, you a man, I don't care what you're going through, especially when it comes to money. Deal with it.
Oh yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So for them, it's like, I don't care. Even if I'm in a position to, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Only because you a man, you put yourself through this. And now this is assuming that, okay, it is a genuine, or let's say you're a man and you're in a genuine situation and you need money to kind of get out of it. But then if the tables are turned, then it's like, you're my man, you need to help me get out of this situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't say all of them, but then some new, or some of these modern ladies or girls, they have this very strong position on the topic of finances.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I definitely believe that. But this guy run, man, it is pretty much airtight. Like that level of affluence.
But honestly, if I met him today, what I would ask him is, wait, how long did you think you were going to run this for?
I mean, yeah, he probably would have done it all his life. He wasn't.
No, I don't think it's possible though.
If you do something like this and you're not getting caught, you always think you're going to be able to.
Well,
to run for it with it for a long time. I think there was one time I was listening to Ravi Zacharias of blessed memory, and he was telling a story, and I don't exactly remember who it was about, but it seemed to be about a financial guru who was, spending people's money doesn't belong to him. And in an interview, they told him, how long did you think you were going to, like that same question, and he said that it's not like he didn't want to stop, but it felt like he was on a tiger, and he had been riding the tiger for so long, he couldn't get off because he thought that if he got off, the tiger was going to eat him, implying that the moment I stop, because in the robbing Peter to pay Paul scenario, you're always in debt. If I get off it, or if I stop, how am I going to finance every other thing?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. And that is the reason why I said I would ask him, like, how long did he think like this thing was going to last for? Because that is like, you're making so much money, but you're also spending as much money as you make it. And I know that he needed to keep up.
but I didn't understand that life. Like, honestly, I didn't understand. Why do you have to party always? Why do you have to continually be this person?
But maybe for him it was more like a lifestyle, not like he's trying to accumulate anything in the long term in terms of, I'm trying to make money with this whole con, right? It's more like, okay, I want to be this person, or I want to live this lifestyle, so I need to find a way to fund this lifestyle, because it didn't make sense to me. You're spending as much money as you're making, so at any point you are still like at zero.
Bro.
Because as soon as the money comes in, it needs to go.
It needs to go. And it needs to be spent on another woman, because it's the women that are financing.
Exactly. So you always need to keep up.
The moment you swipe right on him, you're getting a text. He's matching you. The moment you do that, he's matching you. And he must have known how to pick them. Like, even if you don't become romantically involved, he will still con you. Like he did with the second lady. They didn't become romantically involved, but he still found a way to earn her trust enough to con her.
Well,
I'm glad we're talking about the guy, because I really wanted us to come onto that Simon Levi character. Bro, first of all, that boldness to actually Photoshop yourself into another person's photo and say, this is my dad and my mom, the actual diamond dealers. Right. And I think his whole life he had been a con artist, because when the story broke out and somebody said, I hired him to be a caretaker. He was working for me way from America. He had gone to prison and all of that. It's like he chose a life of financial crime.
Well, technically, that is not financial crime. Financial crime is something totally different.
Knowing what he does to get this thing, do you think that people will still envy him and want to live that kind of life?
I think that there are quite a number of women who live this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, because I know, thanks to the internet and a lot of videos, especially on YouTube, where women openly talk about dating guys for money, and before she even considers you need to be able to pay for a vacation, you need to be able to pay for her rent, her bills, and stuff like that. So it is literally the same thing, but just that maybe the skills are different, and the genders are on the opposite side. Exactly. So it is like people are already living this life. Right, and this time it is only in the news, or it's only in the doc series, because it is a man who took money from a woman.
Yeah.
Right. So I think in this day and age it is quite rampant, or it's quite easy to find somebody who's dating the other sex for money.
So somehow when women do it, they feel like they're justified in their own rights to do these things. you can tell a woman that you're a gold digger, and she'll look at you weird. Why? Why are you calling me a gold digger? Like, no, maybe they won't say like that, but they try to justify why it's not what you think. Right? They try to justify. They might not outrightly say, but the justification is supposed to mean like, that's not what I am. And so they give it random names like boss chick and slave queen and like names like that. But on the other side, if a man did that and people come up, I just remembered when he says, my enemies are after me.
Yeah,
that didn't make me laugh so much.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait, you.
How are you rich and you cannot deal with your enemies? Like every single time, my enemies are after me.
You know what I was thinking? What about like they play like a voice note, and he always said that. You know, like in Ghana when somebody say the enemies after them, it's more like it's witches. I'm like,
witches,
yo,
my enemies are after me. I started to think, is it a language barrier thing? Like, what is my enemies are after me? It was so crazy for me to hear when he said that. But do you, like, to the point, do you think that you would only be able to live this thing if you believe that what you're doing is justifiable in a way, in your own eyes? I mean, obviously, we on the other out of it would look at it and say, "Yo, this is wrong." But the way he was so no, it's not like that. They are my enemies. They've gotten to people to pretend I'm swindling them. When they contacted him, he says, "I'm going to report you to my lawyers." When the police caught up with him, he was really believing what he was saying.
I think there was this part where the lady went to meet him up. I believe it was in Berlin. It was in Germany. To collect the watch.
The watch, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And when they were out and he saw somebody taking pictures of him, he's got in his car and like drove away, like for real. There was some type of assassin after him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so like the point for me is that I think that sometimes when you've lived a life for so long, it becomes your reality.
Yeah.
You could get like so deep into it. And it's like, okay, this is actually real. Like, this is who I am. I am this billionaire. And my dad is like this big shot or diamond king or whatever. So it could be a part because like this was not his first rodeo.
Yeah. Oh, but that last woman, man, she was smart. She was, when she caught wind of it, I don't know how Simon didn't cut her off. When he asked and he was still coming to him.
Actually, I started at some point. I was thinking that maybe he actually loved that last woman because he was already planning on getting married. So maybe for him,
he had dated longer.
Yeah, exactly. So
almost 2 years.
Yeah, so maybe for her it was more real.
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps because I felt like when the lady said they had known each other for, I think, almost 2 years, I was like, why? Because the MO seemed different. He didn't really last with the ladies. Like for the first lady, after he got the money, he was blocking her and, not answering her calls and anything. And the moment he speaks to her, it's either he's rude or he's trying to calm her down and all of that. But to stay with this person for that longer a period of time, and the lady said that at a point some people attacked her and beat her up, and he said it was his enemies that was trying to scare
these enemies,
trying to get to him.
These enemies, I hate them.
They're trying to get to him through the lady and all of that. So I was like, no, the MO changed there. He stayed with this lady longer, and for me, I think maybe that was that part where that allowed the lady to be able to go and take all his fancy things and pawn them online. And he was begging the lady because I thought probably he would move on to the next.
No, or maybe it could also have been out of desperation because because the story was already out and he was already,
his face was everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And he was also already in hiding, so it's like, man. I'll take anything that comes.
Okay. Anyway, so keep sharing this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you think about the TinderSwindler if you've seen it. We would like to hear your thoughts on the TV, or was it a movie, the docu-series or docu-film. Right. Anyway, I was really shocked that they built the case, the newspaper and everything that was leading up to his arrest was because he had swindled the woman, and when they finally got him, they didn't charge him on those grounds, and the ladies are still actually paying for it.
Then the thing is that, what are you going to charge him for? Because you gave it out to him.
Isn't it fraud?
No, it's not fraud. The guy knew exactly what he was doing because he didn't take out the credit card
in his name.
Not in his name, or he didn't take it on behalf of the lady. The lady did it herself, so she authorized it.
Can it be like, well, since it didn't happen, then it didn't happen? Since they didn't get him on that charge,
there's nothing that you could charge him on.
Man, that guy is smart, man.
There's not, because like I said, this not his first rodeo, so he knew it.
And the sad part is they're still paying for the
you have to pay for it. Because the bank has come up to me. I don't have any contract with the bank.
Well,
you went to the bank, you took the loan, so you need to pay for it.
All right. Well, two last questions that I want to ask. If you knew this backstory about this person, would you pay for business advice from him?
Without justifying anything, right? I think that from out of every negative, there's always some type of positive angle, and if for anything, ignoring like all the harm that he caused or the negative side of everything that he did, there's a lot that I think could be learned from this guy in terms of image, because this guy had to he created an image about him that was believable, because trust me, the ladies that he was targeting were like really, really educated people, right? Like very, very smart ladies. So if he's able to kind of present that image, or kind of create an image that is believable, then I think that is always a very good skill to have, because when it comes to business, when it comes to dealing with people, image is literally everything. And depending on the circles that you work in, sometimes like the last thing that people look at is what you can do, but the first thing that they look at is how you present yourself. So I think there are certain things that maybe from a business point of view could be interesting.
For me, I agree. Appearance and stuff. Appearance is very important. People make assessment of you in the first few seconds just by how you present yourself, and that's true.
Yep.
But for me, I don't think I'll go to him or give my money to him for consulting, or like high services. The reason why I wouldn't do that is character. It makes me feel like if I were in business with this person and push comes to shove, when we go into a tight place, he's likely to bail out on me in some way, because his character for me is shady.
Well, you're not going into business. You are paying for consult. But then, wouldn't
maybe some consultancies can run for a long while.
What I also found very interesting, and it goes back to this word which I really like, credibility. So did you notice that the ladies were always saying that whenever they went to, let's say, a restaurant, or a hotel, like everybody was like, "Oh, welcome back."
Yeah.
So like, credibility is very, very, and actually that is one of my positive takeaways.
Yeah, and I was coming to that. What your takeaways were,
and not only in the negative side, like about credibility, but then the importance of creating credibility. Because personally, I'm into business consulting, right? And one of the things that we are working towards is, or one of the questions that we are trying to answer is how do we create credibility for ourselves? And credibility can come in the form of being able to back up whatever you say or your words with actions, or people vouching for you.
Yeah.
And for him, it was people vouching for him. So now the question is, what did he do is in order to gain that much attention, in terms of people acknowledging him, or in terms of people identifying him wherever he was or wherever he went. So credibility is very key. And that was my biggest takeaway from this whole docuseries.
Yeah, that's true. Credibility, definitely. My takeaway would be that ultimately we need to develop some sort of sixth sense to be better judges of character. For me, character is very important. I feel like there's a whole lot of things that we can use to mask character. And if you don't have that knack, some sort of a sixth sense to be able to see beyond what is presented, you might go into bed with the wrong person. And I mean that in the very loose sense.
Okay,
right?
Yep, true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my takeaway from it is to, and also because, the other time I was recommending 50 Cent's Curtis Jackson's book on Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. And I think one of the main things he kept saying was that he became successful because one of the main things, apart from not being a fearful person, he also prides himself in being a very good judge of character. Yeah. Wow. So for me, one of those things, that's one thing that I think is quite important, and that was my takeaway from it. Last thing that I want to find out from you: do you think they deserved it, the ladies?
No, I think nobody deserves to be swindled, or nobody deserves to be cheated upon. Yeah, so nobody deserves it. But then we also learn from our mistakes and other people's experiences. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, because a lot of people were going in on them when the story broke out on Facebook, like they deserve it, you're a gold digger and blah blah blah, like that. That's why I was asking. But for me, I felt a little sad for them. I felt sad. Perhaps if I had read the story on Facebook, I might say the same thing. Oh, it's because you're a gold digger. But watching it gave me a different perspective. So yeah, if you enjoyed this conversation and you have any thoughts to share on it, kindly leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it. What was your takeaway from the movie, or whatever you want to share with us. You could share the video, and also like the video, subscribe to the channel. You already know what to do. Just don't let me say it too much. Just do it. All right, thank you for being with us, and we'll bring you more videos and more conversations that are definitely from a place where we can all learn from. So